Fearless families. This is Dr. Cheryl Schmidt, and welcome to the Fearless Family Health Podcast. In a world that is filled with fear, my hope is to bring you inspiration, information, and support to live more joyfully and more healthy. Come with us as we interview parents, doctors, and experts in all areas of health and vitality. Let's make you the master of your family's future. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast today. Today, I have with me a guest that I think embodies what we are going to talk about today in her life and in her practice. She is a chiropractor, but this podcast is not just for chiropractors. It's for everybody who wants to be fulfilled in not only their physical health, but in the things that they do on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to talk about occupational health and our recreational health. Those are the things that we do for our career, our work, and the things that we do for fun. So today I have with me Dr. Danielle Eaton. She is a chiropractor in Washington, Missouri. She graduated from Logan University with her Doctor of Chiropractic degree in 2008. Following her formal studies, Danielle had the unique opportunity to serve as a resident in Sports and Rehabilitation and simultaneously earned her master's degree in this field. While on the faculty at Logan, Dr. Danielle mentored hundreds of students in creating their branding and preparing for practice ownership. She has been coaching and consulting for other chiropractors now for 11 years. Today, Danielle focuses her work exclusively on supporting and empowering women in chiropractic to grow profitable practices without sacrificing time with their families. Danielle and her husband Ryan have 4 daughters who span the ages of 16 to 1. Danielle spends her time life schooling her daughters and reading a lot of books. Welcome to Dr. Danielle Eaton. Hi, Danielle. Welcome to the podcast today. I have been following you now for a few years since you probably started your own podcast. What you say it was like 4 years ago now? You started the
line? It has been, well, I've had 3 podcasts, Cheryl. I didn't know what I was doing when I started. And I started the first one in 2015. So it was 4 years ago, like this month that I was recording content for it.
Yeah. So, but we met probably, 3 years ago almost.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about practice stuff and balancing life and kids and your own taking care of yourself and practice. So I really wanted to bring you on because I thought you were the perfect person to talk about what I like to call occupational and recreational health. It's taking care of you in what you do on basically a daily basis, on what you do for your work, what you do for fun, what you do to really fulfill you and your needs in those areas of health. Because I think you're on to something with the stuff you're doing in that area. So if you want to just kind of say hi and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi, I'm Danielle Eaton. I'm a chiropractor in Missouri, just about an hour west of St. Louis. And I also have another business that supports other chiropractors, women specifically, in what you've just described, creating the balance, but really it's like doing that requires a mindset shift. And that when we are functioning as overwhelmed, as many of us are, that we really struggle to grow our businesses. And so a lot of women come to me like wanting help to grow their practice. And as we dig into things further, they are really overwhelmed with all the things that they're already doing. Why would the universe give you more people to handle and manage if you're already overwhelmed with what you have, right? So we need to simplify and create better systems and procedures so that things don't feel so overwhelming and they have more energy to give to growth in their business. So balance is like what we talk about on the surface, and then there's a lot more that happens behind the scenes than that. I've been in practice this is my 11th year. And it has been quite different than what I anticipated that it would be. I thought that I would just leave school, start a practice, grow it really quickly, open multiple locations, and essentially do what is the traditional model of success in our profession. And by the time that I graduated, the economy had crashed in 2008. And then I was offered a job at the school that I graduated from. So I took that job and I learned so much in that position. I had my daughter, my first baby. And after she was born, I was like, what? This is so much more challenging than what I had anticipated for it to be. Even though a lot of people, my boss even, he told me many times, you'll not want to come back to work after you have the baby. And I was like, that's silly. Like, I'm a career woman. I would not want to stay home and take care of a baby all day, as if that had such little value, right? I just simply didn't know what I didn't know at that time. But after she was born, I saw that it was time for me to make some changes. And I had gone to chiropractic school with a background in marketing and sales and retail management. And I knew that I wanted to own my own business. So it just seemed like time to leave my cushy, safe office job at the university and be able to have more time freedom. But as I set out on that journey, all I knew is that in order to be successful, you had to work hard and you had to work a lot. And that's exactly what I did. And I found myself having way less time with my child than what I had when I had a stable paycheck coming in every 2 weeks and health insurance benefits and all that good stuff, vacations that were paid and et cetera. So it was a really big lesson for me. It was a hard lesson to learn that what I thought that my life would look like before I became a mom, what I thought my career would look like before I became a mom was no longer going to work. And I had to be okay at some point with allowing that to be okay, like letting it be different and knowing that that didn't mean that I had failed or that I wasn't good enough or smart enough or like skilled enough at managing it all. It was a mindset shift essentially of like, well, okay, so simply working a lot of hours is like the obvious way to get ahead, right? How could I look at things differently now, knowing that I truthfully have fewer hours to give to my work and still feel successful and still be happy with what I'm doing? So that was the journey that led me to starting to help other people with the same thing.
And I think that a lot of people have this vision of success from what we're told. And I
Right.
know once you have a child, I think it's like a lightning bolt of, comes to you and it's like, what are your true values? And it hits you hard. I think, I mean, there's other
Yeah.
things I think that can cause that lightning bolt reaction. Maybe like some people get chronic illness or they're just burnt out, or there's a whole host of things that can all of a sudden jar them into, is this really what I want? Is this really what success means to me? And so then you have to get out of what society tells you success should look like and what your bank account should look like and how many offices you should have or how many nice cars you should be driving or whatever your vision of success is, and look at what really is your true values and make sure you're designing your life to meet those values. So do you feel
Exactly.
did you feel that's kind of what happened when you had your daughter?
I think the biggest thing for me was just allowing my values to change because I really valued work before. I really valued productivity. I really valued money. I still value those things, but perhaps they're not number one now like they were before. And that's not to say that making money isn't important to me. It really is. I'm the breadwinner of my family now. So it's very important to me. It's very important to my family. We have a lot of kids. Well, four is a lot to me. um, and so it costs us a lot to raise them. As I said, four kids, I realize you have four kids too. And I think you're actually like way more of a rock star at managing your four children than I am. That's my impression at least. Um, but yeah, I think overall, just allowing your values to change if they need to, and letting that be okay is
Yeah.
the take home.
And that's a hard shift, I think, for a lot of people to do, because we have these societal expectations, and then we have what really rings true and deep within our soul. And I agree with you. Money is important because we have things we need to pay for. We have things we want to do. My husband and I
Yeah.
I like to travel more than he does, but I drag him along on my travel adventures. And we like to take time off. We like to spend time with our family. And you need to have money to be able to do those things. That's
Right.
how the world runs. So, but not sacrificing your values and your life just to get that is what the big key is, I think.
Yeah, a lot of us are sacrificing a lot in order to try to have more money, right? Like we're sacrificing time with our family, we're sacrificing our own health. Like we don't make time to work out or to eat healthy food because we're too busy with work. And so that saying that you see sometimes on social media about working to live, living to work, um, it's really true. A lot of us are in a position where we are living just to work instead of working so that we can live.
Yeah. So, so when we talk about occupational health, or to me, that's like having a healthy relationship with the things that you do for work, whether that is being a stay-at-home mom, because frankly, I think that is the hardest work on the planet that we
Right?
have. We get
Yes.
very little back from that financially, and even with society telling us that you are doing a very important job.
Yep.
But and then outside of the home as well, having a job or something that you really truly find not always joy in, but you find satisfaction in, and it pushes you, and it makes you grow so that you're not like bored or just clocking in, 9 to 5, and just doing your time, so to speak. Because I think the saddest thing I see is someone who's worked for years and years and years and something that they are just simply doing their time and not having any fulfillment in that, because the majority of your life you're going to be doing something to either help raise your family or earn money. And it's I know it sounds easy for me to say, like, find something that you really, really, truly enjoy doing. And even if you have a job that you maybe isn't your ideal job, find a way to make that job something that you enjoy doing, adding things to it or immersing yourself in it. So, what are some tips you have for people that are trying to do that? Like, those are kind of my little short list, but what would you have for advice for people?
We have to remember that happiness is an inside job, right? And you could you could start a new job and think this is the perfect job, and then 6 months into the job, you're like out of love with the job. It's not about the job. It's about your perspective about the job or the work that you're doing. And that is the case no matter if you are working in a business as an employee or you own your own business. You could start this path like we have, Cheryl, where we have spent a lot of time on our education to be able to own a business. And then we have all the challenges that come along with owning the business. And so for the first few months, it might feel really exciting to have started your own practice. And then you start to have the challenging things come up, the hard things like paying the taxes and hiring the employees and training the employees and then firing the employees. All of that stuff is not exactly fun or glamorous. And if you're only focusing on how much those things might suck at times, then you forget why you started this in the first place. So maybe that's the next tip is, what brought you to what you're doing in the first place? What attracted you to it? This probably applies to our partners as well. When we're really angry with them. What what was it that you liked about what you were doing? What was it that you liked about that person? And remembering the why. And also that the why isn't necessarily because your job has to be the thing that provides all the fulfillment in your life. There's lots of other ways that we can seek fulfillment outside of our work, our occupations. I know that you are a pretty avid triathlete, and I think that applies to what we're talking about here. Like, you're not praying and hoping that motherhood and being a chiropractor, like the only two things that bring you fulfillment and joy in your life. You have other things that you do for yourself that allow you to feel fulfilled or challenged or whatever it is that you're seeking from the sport.
Yeah. And that's why I kind of put these both together, occupational and recreational health. Because there's things you do to earn money, which is in the occupational realm, but also things that you do for yourself. And for me, that's triathlons. I love training for them. I love the community around them. I've met amazing people. Even just doing triathlons, the people that you see doing them is inspiring. It's like every shape and size and age. And I mean, I did a triathlon and there was a lady that was ahead of me. And in triathlons, you put your age on your calf because you're all in age groups. And she was 72 years old doing triathlons. And I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, it was just like all these. So it's inspiring to do those things. So for me, that's fulfillment. For me, is to get out and do those things. But other people, like, they do art or they paint or I don't know, all kinds of things people can do. Drive race cars, whatever you want to do for your recreational health. But I think people have to have permission sometimes to do those things because recreation isn't productive and productivity is a big value in our society. And they're like,
right.
The yoga class not being productive in yoga class. Well, you are. You're being so productive in whatever you do as far as fulfilling yourself. So what things do you do outside?
It's interesting because as you were talking about your race and seeing this woman's age on her calf, I was like, what am I doing right now that fulfills me that's outside of work and motherhood? Honestly, the thing that is the most important to me right now is taking time for myself, like being completely alone, preferably being completely alone in the house. It's a bit of a challenge when your kids are homeschooled, your husband is mostly home, like all of the people that help us with our children and our home, they're also here, and I work from home. So I have to be really strategic and diligent about making sure that happens. Not quite the same as running a triathlon or training for a triathlon, but it is the thing that helps me to lower my stress level. It allows me to get out of, for the chiropractors that might be listening, it helps me to get out of the sympathetic overdrive that we can get into when we're so busy and let my nervous system balance back out. Let the parasympathetic nervous system take the lead for a while so I can rest and digest and just essentially be healthy. Running a triathlon, making time by yourself, going to yoga class, none of those things might feel productive, but the value in them for me is that they help me to have longevity. I don't just mean about how long I'm able to live, but I mean like how long I'm able to work and do all the things I have to do to take care of other people. That's been a hard lesson for me to learn. Slowing down right now actually allows me to get further in my life. Because when I just think like, I just got to hurry up and get there and do all the things that I need to do as quickly as possible so I can hurry up and get there, I burn myself out. And that's pretty common. We see a lot of women, especially, that are just depleted, really depleted. And it's not just because of the physical stress of pregnancy and maybe feeding their child after pregnancy, the late nights or the lack of sleep, but it's also because we are doing so much all of the time, trying to get ahead to some place that we're not even really sure where we're going or what it is that we're going to get when we get there. So we have to slow down.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because like you say, we have to slow down but doing a triathlon doesn't seem like slowing down for most people. But for me, I actually get my time alone then. I get to go out and run on the trail alone, or I swim, and it's almost meditative at times to be swimming alone. There's no noise. You're like, you literally have your
Exactly.
head like in the water, no one else can bother you. So it's my alone time too. I
You're
just,
taking those deep breaths that activate your vagus nerve.
I know it's like, but I also try to like have my alone time as well, where I just, sit and have a cup of tea and read a book or
Yeah.
something like that's not active. So I mean, we need to give people permission to do these things, and that it's okay to be still and just be quiet and not have to be productive every waking moment of the day. And sometimes for moms, that's a lot more moments because you're awake in the middle of the night as well, feeding babies or, you know, scheduling appointments or whatever you're doing all the time as a
Yeah.
mom. There's
It
those
still
things.
astounds me now with my oldest child is my stepdaughter. She's 16 and she doesn't live with us full time. So most days of the week I've got an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And it's completely astonishing to me still after over a year now that it takes so much more time to take care of the three of them than it did just when I had a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old before the baby was born. I felt like I had motherhood like on lock. I was good. And then we added this new baby and it was like, okay, clearly I'm at my maximum capacity for mothering. I just can't imagine giving more. How it would even be possible. Obviously it is possible because women do it. But I have had to be even more strategic now than ever before about how I go about work, scheduling my work, planning offerings, etc. Because I simply have less of myself to give now than I did before. The morning routine of just getting them dressed, getting them fed. I have no idea how we would go back to a formal school setting and get there on time every day because it takes us like 3 hours to get everyone dressed and fed and like happy. They're like they're good to go for the day.
Yeah. And that's a hard shift because you were used to this said routine. You had it on lockdown. You had 3 years of practice. You had a system that was going for you, and you were doing your business stuff. You were starting to line women. You were doing those things. So we have a new baby thrown into the mix, another ball to juggle. That's an unpredictable ball, not one that like smoothly goes. It just like spins around as you're trying to juggle it.
Yeah.
and having, I'm sure, because I see this, and same thing has happened to me, that you really struggle hard at the beginning because you want to keep doing all the things that you were doing. You don't want to let anybody down. You want to keep on providing your content. You want to keep providing your care. You want to keep on taking care of your other kids the same way you were doing, but you can't. Something has changed. So for whatever is going on, I mean, anybody's life, you'll have something that changes in your life. And I think what I've noticed is the biggest advantage someone can have in that situation is to stop, let go, reassess, and then start again with the new normal. Where there's never a normal, but the new system that you're going to have to come up with, because it's not going to be the same. And change is so hard, especially when people rely on you. Patients, clients, kids, women have a lot of people who are relying on them for things, but you also, I think you have to always remember, you have to take care of yourself first and make sure that you fill your cup and that you're not, because otherwise you're going to get burnt out, whether it's occupational, recreational, whatever you're doing in your life, because it all is one thing. Especially as chiropractors, like we have a chiropractic lifestyle. It's like when we leave the office, it doesn't end. Like we're always chiropractors. So what do you think about that? What do you think about your change? And like, I have to say, I kind of watching you from the outside when you had the new baby, I could kind of see like you were trying to like keep all your balls in the air, but it wasn't working. And then I saw not the moment, but I kind of saw the shift where like, okay, things have things are not going to be like they were. And I'm okay with that now.
Yeah, no, really, when I had my second baby in 2014, the addition of her was easier than I anticipated because it wasn't because she was an easy baby per se. It was just like, oh, okay, like I have two arms. I can hold both of them at the same time. This is okay. And then with this next baby, I anticipate her being the last one, knock on wood. Um, I thought, well, this transition will be easy. Like, I know how to be a mom. I've got this. And it clearly was not like that. So I was really unprepared for how challenging the transition would be with her addition into our family. Um, Merely because of that, because I just thought like, no, we've done this before and it was okay. It was easy. This time it wasn't. So that was also really eye-opening, and it was a very big learning experience for me that all like every time that a family adds a child, it's different. It's not the same as it was before. And I just kind of like gone into this thinking like, no big deal. We're just having another baby. We've done this a few times already. Yeah.
Yeah, I can attest to that, having 4 of my own babies, and each one is definitely different. Each one sleeps differently. Each one needs me differently.
Right.
Things going on in my life are different at the time. So the changes that shifts have to happen are different. So yeah, it's like, we're all know exactly what we're doing before we have any kids. And then we all kind of still know what we're doing when we have one kid. And then by the time you had 2, you know less. And then by 3, you know less. And by 4, you're like, I don't know. So it's just so varied. And I think when it comes down to it, though, it always comes back down, for me anyway, is coming back to what are my deepest core values and what do I want to accomplish with those core values.
Yes. Yes. This process was also for me a lesson about receiving support, asking for help, really. I felt like I should still be able to do it all, like I was able to do it all before. And there's other variables to that like with the addition of our 1-year-olds, we moved to a new town. We moved about an hour from where we used to live. My mom was just 6 miles away from us before. She was the person that I relied on for all of the years I had been a mom to help me with my daughters. And if I worked longer, it was no big deal. They could just stay at grandma's house a little longer. And she was always available. And we moved, and like to drive an hour to take the kids to her house was not happening anymore. And we knew that that was going to be a change, but I didn't know how big of a change it would be until we were here. And I had someone lined up who was going to be our nanny, and she started her own family unexpectedly. um, and so then I was just like, oh, I have no one to help me with my children. Okay, no big deal. Like, I've got this. I'll figure it out. But I was really under supported with the kids for many months. Um, and once I was able to say, you know what, I really need someone who's like really solid, really predictable, perhaps an adult to take care of our children so that I can focus and like do my work and get it done. And then leave it because I've completed what needed to be completed for the day and not have to feel this constant pull of like taking care of the kids, doing the work, taking care of the kids, and trying to do it all at the same time. It was just chaos. It was really chaotic. So knock on wood, again, we have a fabulous person who is great with my kids, who comes to our house 4 days a week and takes care of the kids. It's like it boggles some people's minds that I work from home. I have my kids here, they're homeschooled, and we have a nanny that comes to our house every day, but it works for us for now.
Well, and the funny thing is that I find people still almost have shame around even telling people that they have help and support because of our expectations that as women, we should be able to do it all. And that's You know, as a mom, you're supposed to be able to take care of your kids and have a career and exercise and look beautiful and have a six pack and your hair is always done. You know, it's just like
Right.
it's just like, no, that doesn't happen without having people that help you, not without going completely bonkers in like 2 months. So, I mean, yeah, and telling people that you have help, yeah, you just can't do as much as what you and I do without having someone help us. And even being a mom full time and not having some breaks is going to drive you bonkers. It is the hardest job in the whole wide world. And we need more community. You don't need to always have to pay somebody to help. Swap out some days where you can help with your friends' kids and they can swap with your kids, or a grandparent, or just someone who wants to come over and take your kid to the park for a couple hours. But
Yes.
we need these things for our own, to fill our own cup. You know, the saying that you can't give from an empty cup. You know, we hear that all the time, but so many people have nearly empty or empty cups. And so I'm hoping that talking about these subjects will take away some of the shame that people might have about asking for help, and realize that we come from a community. We come from, human species are meant to be in a community and helping each other. And we don't have that as much. So we need to ask for those things.
Yeah. No, I feel like we barely have that at all. Like we used to live near our parents and grandparents and aunts, cousins, etc. And now we don't. We often live far away from them, and we're living in single family homes, and we feel isolated
Yeah.
because we were not designed to be living this way. And maybe our species will evolve to adapt to the societal parameters that we've created. But in the meantime, we have to just let it be okay that that we don't feel healthy when we're trying to do it all ourselves.
Yeah. And I know I had a hard time even talking about like recreational health. Like, what is recreational health? I don't have time to be doing that. I have all these other things I have going on. And my point is not to add something else that you don't, because I'm doing triathlons, don't go out and think you have to do triathlons, or adding like 3 hours of yoga to your day or whatever. Yeah, but you do, I feel that people need to find something that fulfills them outside of their occupation, that fills their cup, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Some of us just do a little bit crazy more stuff than other people. So what, I think we're going to wrap it up a little bit here. What do you have to leave people with as far as these topics, and what tips, what golden gem do you want to leave them with before we go?
On the note of asking for help, I talk with women about this every day, about asking for help, allowing themselves to receive it. The thing is that we often expect other people in our lives, like our partner, for example, to know that we need more help with something or just in general, yet we've never clearly expressed it. And that can be so hard to do, but yet it's so simple. So if you're feeling like you're overwhelmed and you do need more help with whatever it is that you need more help with in your life, then I challenge you to really look at that. Have you clearly expressed to someone else, I need help with this, and this is how you could help me with this? Will you please do that for me? And I bet a lot of you listening can't say that you have clearly had that conversation. If you have, then that's a different story. But if you haven't, that is a very simple action step. Will it feel uncomfortable? Yes, because a lot of us are not used to being that clear and direct. We're not used to asking for what we want or what we need. We just hope that other people read our minds and figure it out, I guess. But it doesn't work. It clearly doesn't work.
You know, and I will attest to that, because I think I did that for a few years, and I started to get resentment. Like, why is my husband going on 2-hour bike rides and he doesn't give me 2 hours? But I would never say like, I need this time.
Exactly.
And so when actually that was a big thing. That's probably another reason I really love doing triathlons, because when I started doing triathlons, I'm like, this is what I need. I need to do this and this and this. And he's like, sure, fine. Yeah, great. Go do your thing. And I was like, wow, that was easy. Like,
Right.
but I was harboring all this resentment because I wasn't even asking and he didn't know. So yeah, we sometimes think that people read our minds. I'm guilty.
I'm so guilty. I'm definitely a work in progress with this myself. Like I start to notice that I feel resentful toward my husband, for example, for not doing something. And I'm like, wait, have I clearly expressed to him in words that he understands that I had the expectation that he would do that thing?
Yeah.
And oftentimes I realize I haven't.
Yeah. I think it's so important that we talk about, like, we have to ask for help because we can't add anything more to our already to-do list unless we start getting rid of some things that are not important to us and we start asking for support that we really, really do need. And I would say of the people that come into my office and the people I talk to, even on this podcast, 90% of women, if not more, don't have the support that they need to be able to fulfill themselves. So if you're one of those people, you're not alone because there's a lot of people that are doing that. And I was there, Danielle was there, still struggle sometimes getting as much as we need as support, but we're getting better and we're asking and we're getting that. So that's what I want people to take really from this, that your occupational, recreational health is important because these are things you're going to do for your whole life and it fills your cup. It gives you, like you said, longevity, not only in life, but being able to give back to other people because you can't give back unless you have your cup filled, and be nice to your kids and not be too grumpy. I mean, I can just, there's days where I know my kids know when I have had too much on my plate and it's obvious. Let's just say that it's very obvious and those days happen. So yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Cheryl.
Thank you, Danielle. I'll have links to people if they want to reach out to you. I know you're working pretty specifically with chiropractors right now. And I know there's a few chiropractors who listen in on the podcast. And if you haven't met up with Danielle and you're a woman in chiropractic, you need to meet her and chat with her and find out what she's doing because she's doing some great things and really shifting, I think, the mindset of what success looks like and honors you and what your goals and dreams truly are from your own values and visions. So thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will talk to you again soon. Thank you for joining us on the Fearless Family Health Podcast. Show notes and resources covered in this podcast are available on our website at fearlessfamilyhealth.com. You can also join in on the conversation with other Fearless families on our Facebook group, Fearless Family Health. If you like what you hear and want to hear more, please subscribe to upcoming casts and rate us on iTunes. And also, don't forget to share it with your friends so we can all be fearless.